welcome to this match, Goon Swarm Federation versus the Ronin. I'm Mythica Hawk, joined here by the one and only Elise Randolph. So let's go through the Goon setup first. They're bringing another drone setup here by the looks of it, choosing to go Rattlesnake, Dual Stratios, Dual Merm, Dual Vex and Navy, Magus and Dual Vex are bringing up. Kind of interesting to note, they're also actually 1 point down, giving the Ronin that 1 point to start with. Elise, why don't you tell us what Ronin have brought here?
Alright, the Ronin, as Sutoni had mentioned, did ban Gila Ishtar, assuming that Goons would bring wanting to bring some sort of drone comp. Goons brought it anyway, but Ronin brought a very interesting matchup with a Balgorn, double Vindicator, Vigilant, double Pontifex for Links, double Deacon, the Frigate Logistics for reps, a Vexor of their own, and a Crucifier. Obviously, the Crucifier is not going to have that much use here, but yeah, this should be really, really wild. Watch how this Vigilant goes and tries to tackle something. It'll be interesting to see exactly what the Ronin are going to go for first here.
Yes, it's especially going to be interesting to watch these two dual Deacons on the Ronin side, as the fall-off for those reps are going to be very low. So we're going to see those Deacons dancing around the Ronin team, staying near and trying to get the reps on stuff that gets hit. Now, immediately we're seeing the Balgorn getting damped, trying to avoid that long-range web, but the Rattlesnake Goon Swarm side is already webbed. The drones have been launched, they are burning away, they're just trying to get into position to kite, and that Ronin team is just sitting very stationary at the moment.
Yeah, the Vindicator is starting to rush just a little bit. He is tracking disrupted ever so slightly. It looks like Goon Swarm are going to focus on hitting a little bit of everyone at this time, just to poke at some sort of targets here.
Yeah, damage going all over their own team. They're just obviously trying to stress those Deacon pilots, as they're going to have to be locking up and swapping their reps to everybody, trying to keep them all alive. I think this is the plan here by Asher Elias from the Goons, just to try and outstress those Deacon pilots. And we are seeing smart bombs as well going off. Looks like maybe on both sides.
Yeah, the Vindicators can't really fit smart bombs. They don't have room for it. But this Balgorn on the Ronin side, it definitely can. And we can see the Rattlesnake on Goon Swarm side is getting neuted out right now. It looks like this is going to be the first target. Interestingly enough, one of the Vindicators on the Ronin side looks like he was at 0 speed this whole time, just now starting to move. Drakis is just now getting into the fray of things as this Rattlesnake is getting primaried by the Ronin side. So damage might be a little bit slow to apply.
Yeah, we're seeing the attack bar from the Goon side just drop off, as it looks like what's been happening is the Balgorn on the Ronin side has been smart bombing off all those drones, and he's been the one that's causing most of the damage to the Ronin team. But they're accepting that damage, they're not concerned, because if they can get rid of as many drones as possible from the Goon Swarm side as fast as they can, and just as I say that, the Stratios from the Goons just MJD'd away. In fact, they're all MJDing around the arena right now. We're seeing the Goons just doing a very good tactic now, and spreading it, getting away from that rush comp that the Ronin have. So the Ronin, they're going to have to reposition, but the Goons are down a lot of drones, and some of these ships don't have huge drone bays.
Yeah, we saw this tactic used yesterday or last week very, very well at the very end of the day. But the difference here is that Goon Swarm, after they MJD'd, they are then launching drones. So these drones will have to travel the 100 kilometers onto their targets once more. So we saw the Balgorn belonging to the Ronin is kind of stabilizing here, getting a few Deacon reps, but the Deacons aren't obviously pressured all that much. And the Rattlesnake belonging to the Goon Swarm Federation side is super hard tackled. He is not going anywhere, and he is about to get melted. Look at this attack bar by the Ronin side. It is huge, and as Yin10 would say, quite girthy. And this Rattlesnake is going to be dying here any second now.
Yeah, unfortunately that's what happens to your Rattlesnake when two Vindicators and a Balgorn get right on top of you. The control bar from the Ronin side is just absolutely massive. Potentially that could be a full nuke Balgorn just zapping the cap from that Rattlesnake. He is dropping down and he is down, so it's first blood to the Ronin. Of course, Rattlesnake being 23 points is a huge chunk of the Goon Swarm damage, and the Stratios now taking a lot of damage as well.
Yeah, and let's see, Goons are kind of trying to poke away at the Deacon a little bit, belonging to David, but David's tanking just fine. Like, these logistics frigates, they're actually very hard to track for these drones. The Vexor Navy issues might have the best job here, and that's probably going to be the next target for the Ronin side, as we do see Paj Doom getting webbed down in his Vexor Navy issue. This Balgorn is able to reach out and grab you very easily. And Asher Elias has boundary violated.
Yeah, he has just
Yep.
been removed. Did he actually boundary violate there? I think
Yeah,
he must
he
have
definitely boundary
MJD'd.
violated. He got to 190 kilometers. He MJD'd in the wrong direction, possibly getting a bit frustrated because his comp got hard countered here.
Yeah, it looks like
But
the banning from the Ronin has just been pretty much spot on. They figured Goons are going to bring some sort of drone comp, as that's really all we've seen them bring. So banning out two very strong drone ships, the Gila and the Ishtar, forcing them to bring some Stratiuses, which aren't really the greatest to replace. And we're seeing a couple of the guys in local chat actually saying out of drones, so it looks like the Ronin have just been slowly demolishing the drones for the Goon Swarm team, completely neutering this entire setup. And of course, with no Logi, there's nothing they can do, so it looks like the Goons are just speeding up the end of this match and all jumping out of the arena.
their goons are ceremoniously killing themselves in the arena, going outside the boundary, trying to get a vouch into habit. It's probably going to work. We do see the Pink Panther at 203 kilometers. That's one of the records for boundary violations. The boundary is at 150 or 125.
Yeah, there's a solid jump there. So Ronin, again, bringing their signature dual Logi frigate setup, and just, unfortunately for the Goons, putting them out, walking all over them here. Goons choosing to bring a no Logi drone setup, and just basically being hard countered by Balgorn dual Vindicator, and those smart bombs just, unfortunately for the Goons, destroyed as they had of staying in the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this Ronin team, they knew exactly what the meta was. You know, the week one meta was all about taking drone kite ships and BC, like quad BC teams. And this Ronin setup counters both very well. This Vigilant is probably brick tanked, able to run out and grab someone as hard tackle. You get so many extra points when you can take frigate logistics because it's only 10 points. So it frees up a lot to bring whatever you want.
Yeah, they're running there 100-0 Goon Swarm out of the Alliance tournament, and we'll see what Apothany and the boys in the desk have to talk about this.
Yeah, would you say that has been a top tier target calling?
I would definitely say it's a unique tier target calling.
Should be fine.
Nope.
I love EVE Online!
The Ronin there, cementing their place in my heart as my favourite tourney team ever with an amazing match. Now, I think they played Goons really well there, but I don't think Goons particularly made many mistakes. You know, they flew a drone comp, they starburst out very nicely, they ran away, then they used the MGGs to jump across, but the Ronin with an amazing counterpart. They banned drones, as you predicted, Suetonia, but they kind of knew that Goons may still bring drones, or that's all we've seen from them, so they kind of bet on that. They brought that Balgorn double Vindy team, and they just smart bombed all the drones away. We're seeing kind of the counters to the first weekend comps coming through here. Heavy dedication to smart bombs, killing all the drones to the point where Goons go, oh, we actually don't have any damage yet. That's not good. So they just boundaried and left the match. Now, there is a danger with that strategy where if you lose a ship on the approach, and you could see as everything was taking so much damage through smart bombs, if Goons weren't careful, they could have, if the Ronin weren't careful, sorry, Goons could have picked something off and then just kited around forever. But no, they didn't. They were careful. The rattlesnake, unfortunately, got caught with that scram. We aren't quite sure what it's from, and just went down. Beautiful play by the Ronin there. Sorry, I've taken up your analysis, but Reload, what are your thoughts on the match? Did you see anything else there that was really cool?
There was no really crazy exceptions, but Goons did everything right, honestly. Unfortunately, they just got played by the Ronin. They banned the Gila Ishtar, and basically they obviously knew that Goons potentially would bring a drone comp, which they did. And Goons did do the right thing. They counted away. They went to the MJD beacons. They started to starbursting when they knew they were trying to get caught by 2 Vindies and a Balgon. So obviously they starburst, but then they realized like, oh, they're all anchoring on a Balgon. What's going on here? And suddenly half your DPS is just gone. And so it's like, okay.
And you know, that is one of the advantages of bringing T2 Logifrigs, right? You can have that crazy heavy core, Balgorn and 2 Vindies. You know, that's what, that's, I want to say like 63 points altogether. That's 3 ships taking up 63 of your 100 points. But with the Logifrigs, you can still have a fairly reasonable bottom end with T2 resistance and whatever. Now, we saw as the match went through, the smart bomb damage was putting everything, taking chunks off of their armor. So it's a very dangerous place to be in. Those small ships may have potentially been volleyed off if Goons had maybe moved their drones or such. Suetonia, are the large smart bombs, are they the counter to drones? Are they a counter to drones? Is this what we're probably going to see moving forward? All teams have to fit heavy smart bombs on their ships somehow, and for forcing them into battleships, even though they're very expensive on points this year? Or do you think there are other ways to deal with drone comps?
I definitely think that smart bombs are a strong counter to drone comps, especially from that flag Balgon, which can fit the True Sanctuary EMP smart bombs, which do more damage, have more range, so they're much stronger.
Well, we do have, now you mention it, the exact moment at which the Balgon destroys all of those drones, which you can bring up on screen for you. Here you can see the drone swarm from Goon Swarm Federation coming down on towards the Balgon. If we can press play, there we go. So coming down, I'm interested to see what they shoot, because if they just try and shoot the Bal and keep the drones on the Bal, then that's very poor decision making. If they're moving around, maybe the Vindies are Vindies are 8 gun, aren't they?
Yeah, they don't have any
utility highs. So let's see where those smart bombs are coming from. Okay, so they're surrounding the team of the Ronin drones coming in here, and so you can see the smart bombs going off. They're starting to take damage off of all the Ronin ships, but we'll slowly see these drones start to pop. There's a whole set going pop there. More are coming out. Dunes dropping more and more drones, sending them into fray, but they are just getting obliterated. If we can click on the ship that is currently rushing forward there, that the drones are following, my man in the sky, in the top left of the screen, I think it might be the Bal. This does add an interesting set of decisions I want to ask you about, Suetonia. When you've got your Balgorn, typically we see 4 guns, because it's got 4 turret slots, and then 3 Newt/Nos, because of course Balgorn and crazy Nosses. If you are going into a smart bomb Bal, do you then sacrifice guns, say I'm not going to DPS, I'm going to do neuting and smart bombs? Do you say I'll take my guns and lose all my nuke capability, or do you use some kind of weird mix and try and fit all 3 on there and not really do anything? Well, like, what's your preference in fitting out a Bal if you're putting smart bombs on it?
I think if you fit smart bombs, you're going Nos and Newts, just to go max out on the control aspect of it.
So no guns at all then?
Probably no guns, no. Probably 3 smart bombs, maybe 2 or 3 Nos to run those smart bombs. They do use a lot of cap, and 1 injector on a Balgon is probably not enough to run smart bombs and guns and doing everything else that it wants to do.
Yep, so now that match is done, an amazing match as it was, we have to look forward through the next match of the day, match 3 already coming down. This is going to be, it must be Jelly, because Jam don't shake, going up against End of Life. Now, brief bit of history, it must be Jelly lost in the first round to Out of Sight, who we saw play a little bit earlier versus Waffles, and they beat Band of Backstabbers. The other team, End of Life, they beat Waffles, in the first round, and then lost to the Tuskers Co, which I don't think was a massive surprise to anyone. I mean, they did win the last tournament, for Pete's sake. So what do we think about this match, Reload? How do you compare Jelly against End of Life in terms of strength?
I think End of Life have the edge on this one. They've had some tournament experience in the past. They seem to know what they're doing in the tournament. I think they might have figured out the man, maybe not. They've got some crazy Russian comps that could potentially surprise Jelly. Jelly, on the other hand, don't have that much tournament experience, but they're a wild card, like all new teams. They can be wild card, and they can do some like crazy comps that can totally out of whack, like Hydra versus Tempest with the Kaldai roleplay setup versus the Battlecruiser core. Unfortunately, Hydra did lose.
Well, Suetonia, what are your thoughts then on Jelly? Do you think Jelly have a chance? Do you like them, or do you agree with Reload that End of Life have pretty much got this?
I think End of Life have proven themselves in the past before. In AT13, they did a deep run for the losers bracket. They beat Dream Fleet, they beat Fraternity, which I'd say are solid mid-tier teams. Jelly
They went 0-2 in AT13. They didn't enter AT14, and they only beat an 8-man setup from CO2 Renters. Like,
I mean, so in terms of results so far, they are both 1-1, but one of them went 1-1 against, the Tuskers, and then beating Waffles, who we've just seen go through to the next round of the stage. The other team, Jelly, they lost to Out of Sight, who pretty reasonable team. I think we're on board with that. And then they just beat Band of Backstabbers, which is not a huge claim as much as, of course, we love the Band of Backstabbers. Now, there are a few things to mention before we go into this match. As we have a few minutes, we can finally do the shoutcasting plug reel that we were supposed to do at the beginning, but unfortunately we didn't have the time. So we already mentioned that we've got the AT viewing party going on in Nottingham today in the Antenna main bar and restaurant, which is just through the doors to my left. Great day, tons of people there already. It's a lot of fun. Come down and have some drinks with the Eveners, and then tomorrow, we're having another viewing party at the Alt Lounge just around the corner. We're going to have the manager for the Alt Lounge coming on, I believe, after this match, or possibly after the one after that, to tell us a little about the venue and what's going on there. Other things to plug would be Eve NT London. That's on the 18th of November. Fantastic Eve meet, ton of fun. Massive shout out to our sponsors from Chill Blast, who have given us a ton of cool tech equipment to bring you the best stream possible for today. Shout out to CCP, who of course have made the game, but also specifically in this case, they are selling IGC skins, which are those beautiful, sexy skins you can see on the Drake behind me here. We've got a Typhoon over there. I'm not sure if it's on camera. You can buy them in-game on a variety of hulls. Some of them have been prizes, exclusively winners of the Event Majors and Minors Leagues that have been going on for a while now. However, some of them are freely available to buy from the usual skin store. Although, of course, on the regular in-game market, for a couple bill, you can pick up those prize skins. They do look very good, as they are the battleship skins. So you definitely get a lot of skin for your money. Now, Nash mentioned earlier, of course, that we have vote.eve_nt.uk. You can vote on who you think is going to win the match coming up. And then if you are correct, there will be a prize draw, and the winner of the prize draw will win £1 billion-isk, and that is going on for every single match today. We have lost Eve bet, but we can still have a little bit of fun with match predictions. What's going on? And if you have any questions for the panel during the course of today, tweet to the hashtag ATXV. That's hashtag ATXV, and we will do a little Q&A when we've got some longer breaks between short matches. We have a remaining flagships graph to come up. I know you guys love all the graphs from last weekend, so let's bring up that graph for you guys right now. So the remaining flagships, obviously heavily bonus towards the Balgon there, as it was picked so often. We've got 5 Armageddons left, a Rattlesnake, a Scorpion Navy, and a Vindicator left. Do either of you remember, I don't know if you have a graph for what flagships have died thus far? Can you remember any notable flagship losses in the first weekend?
Spectre Fleet lost an Armageddon.
They did.
Snuffbox lost their Balgon. So did Project Mayhem. They were both about 10 billion-ish each. So
we should also probably mention the unique count thus far. I believe we've had 3 appearances of uniques thus far, all of them the Rabisu, the prize cruiser from last year's tournament. That is the Armor Logistics with the Blood Raider NOS bonus, fantastic ship. Waffles losing theirs in their second match, their first match in the losers bracket. That was last weekend. Managed to keep their flag battle alive and managing to go through to the next match, which they have actually passed through. So, it's a good investment of a Rabisu thus far if they can win a few more skins to help pay for it. What other Rabisus have we seen? I believe we've had 2 more sightings.
Hydra Reloaded fielded theirs. And I believe Phoebe Republic fielded one too.
Fantastic. So unique should continue. Speaking of uniques, as we do have a minute or two, what other uniques do we think are strong going to this weekend? What we can see, usually Atan is quite popular, but people might be running out of those, as Ting King has done his best to destroy as many as possible on PL tourney runs. Actually, I've just been told that we actually have to go straight to the match, so we will discuss uniques after the break, after the match between It Must Be Jelly, because Jam Don't Shake, and End of Life, coming at you right now.